Welcome back to another episode of Entrepreneurial Athlete, you all. My name is Phylesha, the host of the show, and this is a show for athletes who are looking to transition into business or have already transitioned into business and want to learn from others and just hear other people's stories on how they did that, right? And today is none other than a special guest. We have Ashleigh here with us today. I'm excited for this conversation, and she's going to bring a different perspective, and I'm excited about this because she is a certified commercial realtor in Florida. She actually just transitioned into focusing on commercial, and I'm excited to hear what inspired you of wanting to focus on commercial and just how that transition happened. So, we'll definitely get to having that conversation. But she also works as a landlord rep and a tenant buyer rep, primarily focusing on leases. She also works as with different types of businesses right in Florida, and she does some consultation and sending some market research over to buyers. So, Ashleigh, welcome to the show. I'm excited.
Thank you. Thank you, Phylesha. I'm really excited that we're getting together. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And I forgot to mention your sports background. You were a professional, you played professional soccer in Germany and Sweden, right?
I did, yeah. I played club soccer there for a short time in the second league Bundesliga, and then I played in the third league in Sweden. And I also played for my country. I'm originally from Jamaica, so I played for the national team there for a few years and ended my career in 2019 with the last tournament being the World Cup in France.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about that because I would love to know how you transition right into just playing soccer and then all the way up to doing what you're doing in business. But take us back. Like, what even sparked you even wanting to play sports? How did that all happen?
Yeah, I think my mom was a big part of that. She played tennis in college. She was a walk-on at UCF and also went to USF for I think the latter half of her college career. And she's just like loves sports. She introduced me to soccer. Tennis was actually the first sport that she introduced me to, but it didn't go too good. I was throwing a lot of rackets, so that wasn't very good. But yeah, I did a lot of sports as a kid too, like swimming. I loved to play basketball. Like I was a big neighborhood kid, so like we would just get together in the neighborhood with all the other kids and just play a bunch of different sports. But soccer was the one that stuck for sure.
Oh, I love that because that it kind of sounds a little bit like me. My mom wanted me to do ballet. I was not a girly girl. I was definitely a tomboy through and through. And she put me in ballet, and I was like, no, this is definitely not for you. So that kind of sounds like it's just not your sport, right? um, but the moment that you played soccer, right, like was that something you kind of knew that was yours? I mean, you played professional, so like was that like your goal the minute that you probably started, playing competitively?
Yeah, honestly, I loved it. I loved it when I started when I was 8, and I think around like 10 or 11 years old, I read a book about Mia Hamm, who was at that time like the Alex Morgan of today. So for all the little girls at that time, she was a huge inspiration, and she was very successful in her career. And that book pushed my mindset a little further, and I knew that I was going to become a professional soccer player as a kid. Like I didn't know how it was going to happen, but it was something that I knew that I could do, and I really wanted to do it. So fast forward through youth club, I played at FIU. That's Florida International University in Miami, and ended up being recognized by the Jamaican national team in my senior year of college through a connection that my head coach had with the national team coach. And that was really cool. So I got invited to a camp and a training camp, and ended up being selected for the full roster for a few years on some big tournaments and friendlies. So that was really cool. Yeah,
Wow. Oh my goodness. And so I can see right there that just relationships, right, is vital to, sometimes our success, right? It's about who you know
absolutely.
sometimes. And that's amazing, right? So like kind of going into like your senior year, were you still a bit like unsure, or was that connection brewing like probably in the beginning of your senior year?
Yeah, it was brewing. It kind of came out of nowhere, honestly. Like had always had a dream of playing for my country, but I just didn't know like how that was going to happen. When I was in high school at one of the big showcases that they have for soccer here, the Las Vegas showcase, I was recognized by a youth national team scout at that time. I think it was for like the under 17 team. But I guess whatever communications fell through and it was kind of like like a dead end. And then shortly after, my mom's side is from the Cayman Islands, so I have like eligibility, or I had eligibility there. So I pursued a youth national team opportunity with the Cayman Islands, and I played for their U17 girls team in 2009, 2010. So a very short time, like before I went into college. But it was, yeah, it's definitely like you said, relationships are everything. Of course, you have to prove yourself when you get that
Absolutely.
opportunity,
Yeah.
but for sure, they always open the door a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm big on that because I will say that of course talent, working hard, right, that matters, right? Because you could get the door open for you, but you're not going to stay in the room, right?
Hmm.
And I know for me, like I one of the big reasons why I got looked at, I will say, by Syracuse was because one of my AAU coaches was on the roster as a coach up at Syracuse, right? So like that was one of the reasons why I even got looked at Syracuse. And it ended up being my decision factor on why I went there because I had already had an established relationship there. But yeah, like even now I'm
Yeah.
big on like just even if I'm in a room, right, I want to make sure that I can be a like a bridge, right, for somebody else to get in the room, or and I just would hope to be a blessing to somebody else one day. But I love that. I love that story. And now I'm thinking like what was your experience playing at the professional level? Like I don't have that experience. So what was your experience like?
Yeah, it was hard, but not like, college. Like college is hard, you know what I mean? Like it's a totally different mentality. It's like it's a level that you've never experienced before, and when you're first coming into a college team, you're like, okay, everyone's bigger, faster, stronger than me. How do I get there like yesterday? So it kind of is the same way playing on the professional side, because you've had ladies that have been playing for like 10 years professionally. And so they're just far more like tactically advanced. Some of them bigger, faster, stronger. Because I graduated when I was 21, so I wasn't, I felt like I was like growing up again. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine
but
that.
overall, I think it was honestly like a really great experience in the sense that I learned so much about the game from just being at a higher level. And that helped me into transitioning to my first business. I owned a soccer academy before I went into real estate. And so, like that, all of that knowledge and all those connections helped me transition, which was also really cool. And I'm grateful for that.
Oh, that's amazing. That your first business ended up being something that you had a lot of knowledge on. And so like how did that go? Like, did you always know that you wanted to be a business owner, start your own business?
Yeah, that's a great question. Similar to that soccer story from when I was a little kid, as a little kid, like I always knew I was gonna have some kind of business. I had no idea what business it would be, but I mean, I was like doing door-to-door candy sales as a kid. I was selling stuff out of my garage. I had a little Pokemon card shop that I opened, and then I paid my brother like a little bit of money to help me like run it, and then
Oh, wow.
hired like two of his friends.
You got
They were like in
employees?
yeah, they were like in like fifth grade at the time, or sixth grade, I think. I was in middle school. Um, and yeah, they had to be in elementary because I was in middle. And yeah, I was just always doing something. Like I'm like the typical Jamaican. I had like five different side hustles. Like it was fun. It was cool. I got to learn how to manage a little bit of money, you know what I mean, and learn how to keep an inventory and learn how to price and value things. Learn how to talk to people
Yeah.
because when you're I don't know if people are doing like door to door these days, but like as a little kid, it could be like intimidating. But I just went in my neighborhood to my neighbors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't like going, riding my bike way down the way.
Yeah.
So.
I will say people are definitely still doing door to door because somebody came to my door the other day. I think he was selling something about like houses, like I don't know if it was solar panels. I can't really remember what he was.
Oh,
I don't know what he was selling,
yeah,
but it was something.
that's right. They are out
Yeah.
there. The solar panel, the security system people,
Yes, they're still out there. Yep. So I'm
they're
like, ooh, I mean, it's tough
grinding,
though. Yeah.
grinding.
It's yep, grind. I respect it. I definitely do. But was it like your mom or your parents? Like, were they like, like side, got businesses or just side hustles, or was that like in your family?
Yeah, it's definitely a family trait. On my dad's side, I would say my cousins from my dad's side, they also have like an entrepreneurial spirit and like a business mind as well. My dad was in business for himself for a while, doing wholesale in Jamaica. Not wholesaling homes, like
Okay.
just the business of wholesaling,
Okay. Okay.
um, buying things for really cheap and then in bulk and then reselling them.
Hmm.
So he had a store, and my I think my grandpa had like he had a shoe factory. So
Oh,
yeah, I think business just runs I um, I thought that if I could grow some kind of skill set there, then I could probably open a training business. And nobody's really doing that at the time that I was playing or started that academy in 2016, 2017. So kind of at the same time that I was playing for the Jamaican national team, I started that soccer academy. And it was a real small business at first, and I ended up hiring my first two coaches within 2 years, which was a total blessing because I didn't really have to care about the kids and um, different locations after 5.5 years, and um, coached a couple hundred kids between camps, clinics, private training, group training. We even did virtual training because during COVID, when they shut down all the parks for a few months, it was like boom, within 2 days, I maybe less than that, I came up with a virtual training packet and
wow.
one-on-one and group coaching
Yeah.
through Zoom. So yeah, it's yeah, I'm grateful to have like the ability to like plan and think ahead. I think I'm actually really good at that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Wow. I'm gonna go back. I mean, I'm gonna ask this question, but then go back right to ask more about like your thoughts on for other people getting started in business. Like, what's your advice? But before we go there, is that bit like is your soccer academy? Is it still going on now, or
Yeah, so the business still exists, and I pretty much just left it to a partner in Miami. I got a partner the third year in, and so I had other desires I wanted to pursue, and so now. The academy still exists, but I'm not involved with it.
Oh wow. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Wow, I have other thoughts on that, two questions. But so going back, right? Like for I want to put my hat on for people that are actually starting a business, right? Like what like type of either mindset or like strategies for someone that's like starting their own either academy, soccer academy, or just in business in general? What advice would you give them to that people?
Yeah. I would say, like, I guess I'm gearing this advice to people who are in their 20s or 30s, starting a business for the first time. I think a couple of things that um, we fail to think about is the sustainability of the business, meaning, like, if you can't generate enough money,
Hmm.
like, is this like a legitimate business where people are going to spend their money on your service or product? Then you're going to find yourself in not very good situations. So, for example, like I also Airbnb part of my house, so I had a guest last night that I was chatting with, and he, um, what's it called? Stand up paddleboard. He had
Oh,
like
okay.
I guess like a tour, like a group tour kind of thing for stand up paddleboard. But I guess wherever he was doing it wasn't generating enough income for him to make it like a full time
Hmm.
job or a full
Yeah.
time business. So he's super smart. He's like environmental engineer or something like that right
Hmm.
now, or a conservationist or something. But you have to have some kind of product or service that people want to spend their money on. You know what I mean? Like if it's
Absolutely.
not making money, then it's just like a volunteer fun thing, charity
Hmm.
thing, and that's fine too. But I would draw the line between having a business and doing something for charity with the amount of money that you're making.
Yeah. Yep. And I think like I mean, we all struggle, especially in the beginning, right? Like you
Yeah.
have this idea and you just like if you're a big dreamer like myself, it's like I'm gonna whatever, I'm gonna have a six figures, seven figures one day
Mhm.
doing this thing. But like you might get stuck on trying to get clients or customers, right? Like do you have like I know how did you find like your customers or clients or what advice would you give to those people that are kind of struggling in that area?
Yeah. Honestly, in the beginning stages, I stood on the street. I stood on the streets. I handed out flyers at schools, at parks. I talked to like went to places where families would just be at, like
Mhm.
entertainment venues and outdoor activities, and I would just literally hand out hundreds of flyers and just talk to people. Um, this day and age, social media, if you are consistent with it and you have even like a small following and you're consistent, those people will constantly see your posts and they will talk about it to other people. Like, hey, I'm looking for someone might come up to them and say, hey, I'm looking for a soccer trainer. Do you happen to know one? No, I don't, but there's actually this person that I follow on Instagram. Maybe you
Right.
can check out their stuff. So I think a lot of like direct marketing is important. But then also, like use like there's so many different platforms, TikTok,
Hmm.
YouTube, what is it? Facebook, Instagram, right? Like
Snapchat is even coming up now
see, and
too.
I didn't
It's
even
crazy.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So I feel like when you first start out, you have to be very flexible and you have to think quickly and be adaptable. Like nobody knew COVID was gonna happen, you know what I mean? And it's
Hmm.
so it's like our business is fully in person.
Yep.
Now I got to make something really quality that I can say I'm able to train a child in a sport online. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. Like if someone told me that, I'd be like, "What?" Like,
Yeah.
but it was a good program. Like it was all ball mastery
Yep.
skills, so like foot skills and handling the ball, which is actually really easy to train online and like teach.
Yep. And you would never known if like if we weren't forced in that environment, right? Like
Yeah.
I do believe like now, right? The times are going with AI. If you aren't implementing AI in some
Mm,
capacity, not saying you need to implement it all in your business, but if you aren't implementing at least a little bit, I
yeah.
mean, you're gonna fall behind. And I will say even like don't even shy away from the old school methods, like you were saying. hand out flyers. I mean, everything is
Mhm.
so digital now, which is great.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Stay on social media as well, but also don't be a shy don't shy away from, the old school route of like, hey,
exactly.
handing out business cards or hustling on, like doing it old school, walking into businesses, right? Introducing yourself like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
You got to put
100%.
yourself out there, like especially when you're new, because reputation too, I think, is everything. So it's if people don't know who you are, then how are they going to find you? But then also the ones that you do service, or even just speak to, but they don't end up buying from you or become a client, like showing that you're professional, you're an expert, you're knowledgeable, and you're a quality person and you can do a good job. Like people will talk about that for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you just made me think about I don't know if you're familiar with the song Residuals by Chris Brown. It just like got really,
Nah.
really okay. Well, that's okay because he dropped like that song maybe like 5, 6 years ago, right? And nobody was, checking for the song. Like it wasn't really popping or anything like that up until like I would say within the last year, it just flew off the everybody it was on TikTok. It was just it blew up. But the point was, what I'm saying is like what I heard someone say it was like some celebrity on an interview, but he was saying that what you put out, like it could be like yourself, right? You can be talking on social media, sharing your value, all things in there. But you get so stuck on, okay, I only got like 10 views, 50 views, right? Not a lot of people are watching, right, my videos. And you sometimes start to think, well, it's not good quality, or maybe I got to switch up what I'm saying. And that's not necessarily true. Just people haven't found you yet. Like
Mhm.
you just gotta just keep at it, right? Like just keep what am I trying to say? You keep nurturing your craft and all of that and
Mhm.
growing and all that because the issue is just people just don't know who you are yet because the minute
Mhm.
that you people start noticing you, that's when things will align. And I will say that, but also when it's in God's timing, right? Because nothing you want to make sure that it's ordained with God's plan because he will give you what your dreams even more if it's aligned to what he has for you. But I wanted to say that because
Mhm.
it's not always about like I need to have this perfect idea. It's just people just haven't found you yet, and that's okay. So just keep grinding and keep working because it's gonna happen. But
Yeah, it's a great point.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so I want to go back, right? I want to go back forward to you gave your academy, right? You had a partner
Mhm.
and you kind of stepped away from that business. And so was there like an agreement? Are you kind of like at least financially getting I mean, I'm not saying like numbers or anything, but like was that like part of your agreement or you just like it's all yours?
No, I just basically gave it away.
Oh
I didn't
wow.
I didn't have a need for it,
Okay.
honestly, and it ran its course, and I'm grateful that the Lord gave me an opportunity through soccer to just be a light to people around me, be a light to kids and families, and some of them honestly still text me to this day, like showing me videos of like how their kid is improving and stuff, and I think that's really cool because the Lord did use soccer to draw me to Him as I was playing at FIU. I had a teammate who was older than me. We were really close as me coming in as an incoming freshman, and she was a junior, and she ended up leaving the team, and um, she became a disciple of Christ, and then started studying the Bible with me. And
Mhm.
then I eventually made that decision to follow Jesus as at like 20 years old. And by the grace of God, He has really provided and protected and matured me and helped me in so many ways. And I'm still like spiritually immature, like I just like
Mhm.
like I read, how the Israelites complained the whole time, and that's why they were stuck in the wilderness for 40 years, and I'm like, Lord, like help me because I need so much help, and no Christian is perfect, right? Uh,
Mhm.
that's why that's why Jesus rose from the dead. Like that's the whole point, right?
Yep.
Humankind has uh, a flaw about their nature that we're born eternally separate from God, and because this world is ruled by Satan, the world is ruled by sin. The world is ruled by destruction, by chaos. But God does not want that for us. He wants to reconcile this relationship that he had with us from the beginning. But the only way to him is through Jesus. Jesus said he's the truth, the life, and the way. Nobody comes to the Father except through him. And so we put our trust and our faith in the fact that not only did Jesus come to to preach the good news of himself, right? Of God entering human creation as a man to die for our sins, but we believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and that truly sets us free from everything that the world wants to bind us in. And I feel like a lot of Christian entrepreneurs, they think that they have to do worldly stuff to get the blessings of God, but that's not it. That doesn't matter. Like that's not how it works. The Bible literally describes success in Joshua 1:9 as as following the law, like being obedient to God and meditating on his law day and night, then you'll be prosperous and have success, right? We don't just follow God to get things, but being in his presence and having peace with God when we're with Jesus, it totally changes our lives, and God can work through us for his greater purpose of revealing himself to his children, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for Christian business owners out there, to share the good news of Jesus Christ by just literally getting on a podcast like this. And I appreciate you listening to me go through that whole little thing that just kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, I feel like you reminded me speaking to me because it just reminded me of my own story. Because I mean, I was born in church. I've been a Christian since I was very little. But I will say since I went to college and I was a part of Fellowship of Christian Athletes, I was there. I was doing the thing. And then I got baptized when I was a junior year. But I mean, I was very into the word. I mean, I felt like, what's the word? I felt so empowered during that moment because I had my some teammates going to Bible study with me. I mean, even not just basketball teammates. I mean, I've had friends that were soccer players, volleyball players. I mean, it was amazing. Like it was just being in that environment, um, and then encouraging my other teammates to come along that weren't really Christians, but they were open, right? And it was really so refreshing, so beautiful to see God work in their lives, just Jesus working through them. Well, fast forward all the way up until now, right? That's I'm gonna say my age here, but that was almost 10 years ago. But now, I am really reading the word like from front to back. Like I will say in college, right? I relied on Bible study, like somebody else telling me,
Sure.
like, hey, like read this like chapter, and that was it. Versus me kind of just going into the word and really understanding it from my own perspective. Now, I'm not knocking that period, right? I don't want people to understand the misconstrue
Yeah.
what I'm saying, but it's really beautiful for me to get my own perspective on the Bible, right? And that's what I'm going through now. And when you said that you're still like, immature, like a baby, right? When it comes to your walk of faith, um, I feel like that too. Like I feel like I am learning things about Jesus, about just like how he wants us to be, not just in one area of my life, right? He wants us to
Mm.
surrender in all
Mm-hmm.
areas. Oh my goodness, all areas. And I just remember like as I was building businesses years ago, I always went in thinking like, well, I'm a control freak. If like I like control. I'm saved from that. So I just want to say that. But I really like control. Like I am going to do this when it comes to my life. Like I have a plan. Like this is what I'm gonna do. Like if I feel like somebody else is making $10,000 a month, well I'm gonna do that. I don't care. If it's
Mm-hmm.
not meant for me, I'm gonna do it. So that's how I approach business, right? And it just wasn't in the right intention, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would part of my journey, you would see that I was like, I would build something, then it would drop. I would build something, and it was like,
Mhm.
no, I'll just go to something else. Like it's too hard. I'll do something else.
Mhm.
But now with me building my tax business, my tax automation, I'm on the operations side for tax professionals. My approach is totally different. I am approaching it with Jesus Christ, God being my partners in this. I am not going nowhere. I'm not being led nowhere unless I am guided by them, by God, right? I want to get confirmation from Him first before I'm walking that direction. And it's such a beautiful journey. I mean, it's still hard, right? I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I still like sometimes I'm like worried a little bit, but I feel like approach, like even when I do have those thoughts, I'm going back to the word. I'm like, hold up, Lord, like what are you saying? Like, you
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Like, hold up, I have these feelings, but please speak to me through your word because
Yep. Amen.
I want to go into this chapter differently, right? Like I used to have these thoughts. I used to not talk to myself very nicely, right? But now I want to do different. And I feel like that's like those are like the fruits of the spirit. Like if God is telling us, like if you are going approaching something that's like your foundation is like it's not chaotic, like it's not like chaos or something like
Mhm.
that. That's how I know like I'm at least on the right path. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That was long. I'm sorry, but like I
No,
feel like
don't be sorry. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, like you really you're speaking to me, you're speaking to people because like that is so true. And I'm just learning a lot and I'm growing and I'm just grateful and his mercy is so amazing. It's so beautiful. And I'm just honored that he will take little old me. I'm just saying like and use me as his vessel, right? That's what I know now that as long as I'm aligned to his assignment, I don't care. It could be, it doesn't matter the resources, right? As long as I am
Sure.
here doing what he wants me to do. So, yeah,
Amen.
yeah.
Praise
Oh
God.
my goodness. Okay. Yes. um. Okay. How did you get into real estate? Was that real estate was after you decided you
Hmm.
wanted to do something differently?
Yeah.
Okay. How did that fall? How did that happen?
Yeah. Um, well, I have always had an interest in obviously like business and but investments. I was investing in stocks and mutual funds throughout college and like early 20s, mid 20s. And I realized like I would like to try to have an additional, I don't know, just an addition to my small portfolio that I had at that time in terms of investments. And I felt like real estate, factually looking at least, it is a extremely historically stable asset. Um, and it's something like tangible that you can see and like walk in and like have an awareness that it's real. I'm not saying that like stocks are not real, like they are real, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah.
but real estate, I think holding for a long period of time can be a way to generate a lot of wealth.
Hmm.
Um, and it was kind of a no-brainer for me to then transition to that. But I started out in real estate. I got my license in like 2 years ago, actually, April 2023. And then I kind of took like a detour from actually practicing as an agent. So
Hmm.
like for a year, I ended up learning about a bunch of different assets between like multifamily, like large apartment complexes, self storage, industrial assets, and I was like, okay, well, there's like a lot to to participate in. Like I don't even know where to really start. So I ended up meeting a couple of people and ended up working that were doing multifamily syndication, meaning they were pooling money together to buy the apartment complexes and then return a sum to investors over a quarterly period or monthly period or however their terms and agreements were. So syndication is you can syndicate anything. You can syndicate a business or a property. Like that's how all those large high rises get put together or massive new developments. It's not like one person
Right.
paying for that. it's a group of people pitching in to acquire it. So I started learning about that and ended up kind of like it turned into kind of like an internship with an investor out of Oklahoma, an amazing person, like very sweet guy, older gentleman, and he's been in real estate, commercial real estate for like maybe 30 plus years, owns multifamily and retail properties. And so I just, he needed a lot of like market research and a lot of reporting. So I just gathered all the information I could find for potential sites that he wanted to acquire. And then we developed a very good relationship. And he was kind of like a grandpa like figure in a way. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And he taught me so much. And then I actually like that ended, and then I went into practicing with my license as a real estate agent. Started with residential investments, so like people who had an Airbnb or a second home or a portfolio of homes, whether they wanted to like buy, sell, or lease them, I would help them with that process. And then fast forward to now, I recently transitioned into commercial real estate as a as a practicing agent. Um, and that was a couple months ago, actually. And it's been really fun. I work at Petra. We obviously are in Jacksonville. We have an office in downtown at the beaches. And between the brokerage and the management team, the company oversees about 1 million square feet in Jacksonville, working with retail, a lot of retail, office, industrial, flex, like industrial flex, warehouse office space. So it's been good. It's like a field trip every day. Great.
Well, and honestly, it's so cool because I remember we talked a while, probably I think a couple months ago now. And you've expressed how you wanted to get in a commercial. And
Yeah.
then look at you, you're doing it. That's amazing. That's so
Thank
cool.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
And so I assume like this is like you're just probably I mean, this is probably amazing. Like you're just taking it in, learning it. I mean, what's
Yeah.
like I would say like for someone that wants to sell commercial, right? They want that to be their focus. Like is there do you have any like advice for them? Maybe it could be a mindset like that you encourage
Sure.
them to have. Like what would you say to that person?
I think, well, I talk about kind of two things. Practically, I think it's the same as any other business or entrepreneur journey. Like you have to put yourself out there. Like you have to go to networking meetings. Like you have to go introduce yourself to business owners. You have to send some cold emails. Warm is always better, of course, but you have to do some of that. You have to make some cold calls. Like it's just part of it. I think getting with a brokerage that is well known and well reputable, like Petra, that company has been around for a while, and they have a great reputation. My boss, Elias Ioannidis, he's everybody knows who he is, and he's done business with a lot of people, and everybody loves him. And he knows a lot about downtown where we are located, in one of our office spaces, and where we do a lot of uh, leasing there and sales. So I think being on the right team and putting yourself out there and learning as much as you can, like as fast as you can, whether that's like through someone who's experienced, like that would be Elias for me, or getting on YouTube. Obviously, you can't trust like everything you see on the
Yeah,
internet,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean, like with reason, like
Absolutely.
do some self learning, and then mindset wise, I guess maybe this is like for athletes too. Like
Mhm.
if this is literally the same mentality that you have on the field or on the court or whatever your arena is, it's the same thing. Like you
Yeah.
have to show up if you don't feel like it. Like you're not going to score a goal every game. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
going to acquire skills and you're going to refine them and sharpen them, and you'll be ready to be better next time. And don't despise like small opportunities. You're not going to hit a home run all the time, or even when you're brand new, but you can do you can do a lot of practical things like those three things I mentioned earlier, to help you build your skill set. And again, everything is about reputation. Like no coach wants to have a player who got a bad attitude or who doesn't want to learn, who comes late to practice or who only cares about playing in the games. You know what I mean? So show up with a good attitude, like be ready to train, like be ready to learn, and then apply your skill set, have a good reputation with everyone that you deal with.
Yep, I totally agree. Wow, you dropped a lot of nuggets. I'm actually really excited to listen back on this episode because I definitely take some nuggets in and learn from what you have shared today. And as we are wrapping up, I want to share your however people you would like people to contact you if they're looking for to sell. Wait, let me make sure. Yeah, to sell.
A lot, I know.
Yeah, commercial, properties or anything, or even wanting some assistance with their leases. The people trying to find a commercial place, but how would they contact you?
Yeah, sure. I would say best, I mean, you can email me, and I don't know if you put like a,
Yeah, I
however you
put
do that.
yeah,
Okay, you
put
can
it up.
email me at Ashleigh, my first name, at petrajax.com, like
Mhm.
Jacksonville, jax.com. And then the office number is probably the best number to call, but they relay everything to me. And honestly, I don't even know what that is off the top of my head, so I could probably just give you
Yeah,
that
just send it
information.
to me. Yeah, I'll put
Um,
that in there.
yeah, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn a lot. Facebook. I'm on Facebook. You could just literally type in Ashleigh Shim, my name, and it'll come up. And then I would say just to like differentiate people who are looking to buy commercial real estate who are out of city or out of state. Um, I can still definitely work with you if you're obviously transacting in Florida or in Jacksonville. Um, and I can help you by, doing some of that market research for you, looking at, income demographics, looking at new developments that are coming up in the area, what businesses are opening, what businesses are closing, what are the major employers here in Jacksonville, how many people are moving to the city within X amount of time, but specific to your asset class, what are the housing starts? What's the supply and demand looking like for your asset class? And then if you're in Jax and you want to lease, you're looking to open a business or have a second, third, fourth location, definitely you need to talk to me. And yeah, for sales, I mean, that one's pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
If you're looking to sell,
Yeah.
just
Hit her
holler,
up, y'all. Hit her
just
up.
holler.
Absolutely. Okay, cool beans. Well, Ashley, thank you again for being on the show. I do appreciate you spending time with us today. And as you know, continue to level up in the game down there. I would love to have you back on the show, sharing more knowledge and nuggets on just what you have learned and what other people can learn from you. So, yeah, but thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. Um, and for the listeners, y'all, if y'all tuned in and you received any type of nuggets from this conversation, share it in the comments down below. We would love to hear from you. And this is and make sure you share it with somebody that also would be good for them to listen to this episode as well. That's how we bring wonderful guests on this show, just like Ashley. Okay. And make sure you subscribe. And we will talk to you on the next episode. Bye, y'all.